Hi and welcome to this month's how-to video on all things art, journaling and drawing, and as ever thank you so much for subscribing. So this month the theme that I've chosen is how to solve problems creatively. So what I'm going to do is I've chosen 3 objects that I'm going to draw. But other than that, I haven't made a plan at all. So I don't know what materials I'm going to use. I don't know what the layout or composition is going to be. I don't know what the kind of style of it is going to be. I'm just going to start, and then based on what I do, I'm going to then take the next step and the next step. And during that time, I will probably do things that I'm not so happy with, that I don't think look right, that are kind of out of balance on the page. So what I'll have to do is then creatively problem solve, which is something that I love to do. So that just means that I have to alter my page based on what I've got and take a next step. And then when I've taken that step, take stock again, and then take another step and another step, and the page will evolve. I've got no idea what it's going to look like at the end. So come along on this little ride with me, just to see this process really, and just really the reason that I've chosen to do it is just to encourage you to not worry if you think, oh, I've done something that I'm not so keen on, just to keep going and take one step and then a next step and let your art journal page or your sketchbook page evolve. So let's get going. Okay, so let's begin. I have started with 3 drawings that I've already made, as you can see. One of this little glass tumbler that I've got is one of a set of tumblers in pretty colours, a lemon, and a few of the leaves from my Christmas cactus, which is here, well, it's starting to bud, and hopefully it will flower really nicely. And I've made these drawings using my brush pen, and deliberately so because I don't use this very often. And although I quite like the results that you get when you use a brush pen, and when I do use it, although it's not that evident on these drawings, I do try and alter the line by altering the angle that I'm holding the pen and the pressure that I'm using as well. Although really, mostly of this is done with quite a kind of firm hand. So what I want to do is to, instead of kind of going, oh, I've just drawn those and I'm not happy with any of them, particularly the lemon, because I extended the shape of it, I'm going to just have fun working into them kind of creatively, and I haven't planned what I'm going to do at all because I want it to be really spontaneous, and I want to let one decision that I make about what I do to then sort of guide the next decision. So you'll be seeing it in real time, this kind of creative decision making process, and and I really like that, the idea of problem solving, creative problem solving. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a sore throat. I've had the lurgy recently. So I'm going to begin with my little glass tumbler. I'll leave it here. Obviously you won't be able to see it from the same angle that I am, but rest assured I am looking at it, and I'm going to take note of some of the things that I can see. So it's glass, there's lots of reflections, it's coloured, there's different shades of colour. So I'm going to add colour to this, I think. It's not going to look particularly realistic, I don't think. Probably end up being a little bit stylised, but that's just the way I like to do things sometimes. So what I'm going to do to begin with is get another fine liner pen. This is a 0.4, and I'm just going to neaten up this line. So if you do use a chunky pen and you want to add a little bit of kind of refinement to the line, you can easily do that with another pen, just a finer one. So that's probably looking a little bit neater already. And then I'm going to look inside, or look at my glass tumbler, and I can see that there's all sorts of like shapes and lines, shadows falling, light falling. I can see that there's some light sort of falling, that sort of shape in there. That's interesting. I'll have to see how I cope with what I've just done there. We've got a bit of a rim. We've got a shape coming in here, down here. I'm using my fine liner pen, but I'll probably change tools at some point. I'll just do a little bit on the rim. Oh, it's looking a bit more interesting already, I think. There's going to be quite a lot of free rein here. All right, and I should have also said that I've got an array of different tools with me here. So I've got other fine liners, I've got my coloured pencils, I've got some felt tip pens, and I've also got my chalk pastels here. So I'm definitely going to be playing with colour and adding colour to these drawings as well. So having said that, let's go in with a little bit of pink, because we've got an area of paler pink down the bottom here. So whilst it's not going to be totally realistic, I am looking at what I'm drawing and trying to sort of reference some of the things that I can see. In fact, I'm going to just be brave, and I'm going to just put a solid pink line in here and see what happens. And if I don't like it, I shall just try and change it as I go along. So even if you do something that you're not too keen with, you can change it and improve it. Let's put a little bit of purple in down here. Use a little bit of my chalk pastel just to make a solid colour. Well, not a solid colour, but just to get rid of that white. Excuse me. This is a nice pencil. It is solid graphite and it's an 8B, so it's really soft. And I'm going to use this to add a little bit more definition. I need to do something with this shape here, that's quite solid. So I am stylising it, but I think it's starting to look a bit more solid, a bit more 3D. I suppose that is the aim. I want it to look like it's a three-dimensional object, and I want it to sort of be recognisable as this little tumbler. But I don't want it to be, it doesn't need to be an especially kind of realistic drawing. I'm definitely stylising things now, because where this little grid pattern has appeared, I've just decided to emphasise those lines a little bit inside it, which I quite like. And so I'm going to do the same here. Just doing this little thin line has just made me remember I think one of the things that I like to do is to use different thicknesses of line to add interest to my drawings as well. So I'm using a lot of techniques that you'll be familiar with, a bit of hatching here, but kind of stylized hatching. I may or may not do a shadow that it casts. I'll see. At the moment, I'm looking less at the tumbler and more just at the overall drawing, and I'm taking into consideration composition, well, kind of weight, and the weight of the drawing, like from one side to the other. So I want some balance. I'm thinking about the balance of the drawing now. Starting to come together. Quite like it. I'm not sure I want to do all of these lines here coming all the way down, so I'll just stop for the moment there, because I'm not sure, or maybe I'll make them shorter. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think the reason that I've stopped them is that if I'd have carried all of those on down here, I might have started to make my little tumbler look a bit flat. Not sure about this that I'm doing right now. It's not having much impact, but the impact it is having, I'm not particularly keen on. So I've just had a look at it from further away, and I can see that down here it's quite heavy. So I'm going to go back in with my brush pen and just make this line a little bit thicker, just to balance that out, or just to sort of echo that line down there. Do that nice and carefully. So I feel that that's quite strong now. It's probably a bit too strong. So what can I do to then counteract that. So I think what I'm going to do is get my pink felt tip again and just extend these lines down a little bit. And then I might go in with a little bit of this colour pencil, make this stronger. Don't want to overdo it. Nearly went in with a brush pen again. Want to avoid that. Okay, I think I need to do something around this central part. So I can't really see this line on the tumbler that I'm looking at. I'm making it up, but I know that this sort of curved line will add to the three-dimension, will help this drawing to look, the front of this tumbler to look like it's got 3 dimensions and it's curving out towards me. So I really am stylising things now. I'll do another one down here. I don't want to overwork it, but... And then I might just do one here. I think we need a bit more in here. To put the shadow in or not to put the shadow in. I don't think I am at the moment. I might come back to it though. There's some parts of this that I really like. I think that's coming on. Then I might just do something to suggest the curve inside this tumbler. Maybe not with the black right now. Maybe with something a bit softer. No, I was going to put something there, but I don't think I will. I think I might leave that at that for now. I might come back to it because I quite like working across more than one thing at the same time. Because if I'm not sure what I want to do here, I can go and work on something else and then come back to it. So let's leave the tumbler there and move on to the Christmas cactus.